Okay friends, welcome to part 1 of our video tutorial on building decision support systems with the help of Microsoft Excel. In the first part of this video tutorial, I will talk about some of the most fundamental concepts in relation to decision support systems. And this is something we talked about before, when we covered the basics of business intelligence and decision support systems. But I would like to refresh those concepts since they will give you like a better high-level view of like what those exercises that we are about to complete are all about. So what you see here, you see a very high-level conceptual model of a decision support system. Now, the two most important components of any kind of decision support systems are as follows. First of all, data and model base. So in other words, decision support systems are largely about this. You need to collect data, and this data can be internal or external. Internal means it comes from your own internal records, meaning internal records of a particular organization. And external data means this data or this information is obtained from sources that are external to your organization. For example, something related to your overall market, something related to current legal developments, like for example new laws, new regulations that impact your company. So all those would be examples of external data. Now typically internal data is combined with external data to give an organization a better understanding of its internal and external environment. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because an organization is like an organism that exists within a particular industry or external environment. So in other words, although internal information about that organism is important, you cannot ignore the external environment. Just like if you take a human being, right? A human being has an organism that is very sophisticated. It has a lot of organs that work together. But you probably know that your health, health of your organism is determined by both internal factors, meaning something that is happening on the inside of your body, and also external factors. For example, your exposure to certain pollutants, your exposure to hot or cold temperature, right? So it's both internal and external factors that impact your health. Now, the same thing by analogy can be said about an organization. An organization needs to know both internal information and external information to be successful in its industry. So data is one important component. Now, the second important component is model base or collection of models. Basically, once you gather data, you need to analyze it, and you analyze it with the help of models. So models are analytical tools that can be applied to a data to get a particular answer. For example, should we invest into factory expansion? Should we start this new product line? Can we? What is the best way to divide our customers into subgroups? Right. So those are examples of the kind of questions that those analytical models can answer. And analytical models, they can be like very low-level operational models. For example, do we grant a loan to this particular customer? Or very strategic models, meaning, what would our financial situation be like as a company 5 years from now, 10 years from now? So those are like strategic models. Now, there are many approaches to creating those models, but I would say the most common approach to creating models is by using statistical models or stochastic models. So basically those models, they get data as an input and then they give some kind of results. So naturally, decision support systems, they have functions or capabilities that allow them to work with both data and models. Another important function of decision support system is to provide a relatively easy to use, typically visual interface so that a human being, a particular decision maker within an organization, be it an operational employee or a top manager, can work directly with that decision support system. By the way, this link is very important. In fact, many scholars would call it the weakest link in the value chain of DSS. The thing is, you can have very sophisticated data models. You can have access to all data that you possibly need for your particular decision context. However, if a decision maker fails to use a particular model in a way that leads to better decisions, in a way that creates value for an organization, then the whole system is a waste. So that's why, if you read articles or articles about the job of somebody in business intelligence, the job of a data scientist or the job of a data analyst, if you look at job ads, if you go to monster.com and check those job ads, you will see that communication / political / persuasion skills are very important for somebody who is an analyst, who is analyzing data, because in addition to be able to analyze data with the help of models, he or she needs to be he or she needs to have the kind of communication, political, and relationship building skills that would actually enable this analyst to influence other people within the organization based on his or her analysis. So interfacing with the human, creating an interface that is easy to use for a human decision maker is very important, because it will put him in a better position to understand what's happening. And also, there's another link. It will be helpful in communicating to others. If there's an intuitive, easy to understand interface. So it would be, if there is an interface like that in place, then it would be easier for a decision maker to communicate results of his or her analysis to other important stakeholders within an organization. So once again, this is an overview of a very high-level conceptual model of a decision support system, and this concludes part 1 of our presentation on Tutorial C, that is devoted to building decision support systems with the help of Microsoft Excel 2013. Thank you for listening.